Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions. Thank you again so much for our time together. I want you to come with me down to Matthew chapter 20, beginning with verse 17 today. As Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, he took the 12 disciples aside privately and told them what was going to happen to him. Listen, he said, we're going up to Jerusalem, where the Son of Man will be betrayed to the leading priests and the teachers of the religious law. They will sentence him to die. They will hand him over to the Romans to be mocked, flogged with a whip, crucified, but on the third day he will be raised again. Now, there's tremendous truth there. Like, why did everybody cry and get sad? They always knew. And one of the things you have to understand is that emotional pain can make you forgetful. The pain of watching Jesus die made them forget because he'd always told them they'd rise again. But the truth I want you to see here is called private leadership conversations. Now, there are many people who teach the concepts of discipleship very wrongly. You say, well, why would you say that, Pastor? Because they take principles of the training of leadership and they apply them to, quote, discipleship of average church members. And they don't understand that these two are completely different subjects. Their exegesis is flawed because they do not pay attention to who Jesus was speaking to at the time. Now, that's an important biblical understanding that you've got to get a hold of. Who was Jesus talking to? Because that affects how you understand the passage. Now, this was a private leadership conversation. And what I want you to see is this. There are times as leaders you sit down and you talk to top leadership privately. Now notice, he didn't tell this to everybody. This was private leadership conversations. There are things that you have to discuss with people about the future, about the challenges that we're going to have to go through, and these are things that are done privately among top leadership. Sometimes as a family, we call them family conversations. Sometimes in leadership, you just call them, listen, this is for these four walls only. These are things that we're going to discuss among top leadership that we don't discuss out there with everybody else. This is a private conversation. Now, in your companies, in your families, in your leadership teams that you lead, there are times that you have to have private discussions. And usually those things are about some difficulties coming ahead. You realize senior leadership can handle challenges and discouragements better than just the crowds of people following. Never be afraid and never be intimidated by people to stop having private leadership conversations.